At the very beginning of the movie, we learn that the pyramids of Egypt are cursed, a curse that has existed for centuries. Those who once worked in these tombs all fell victim to that curse, meeting terrifying and tragic ends. For years, many scientists, archaeologists, and researchers avoided studying these pyramids entirely. Archaeologists are people who search for ancient and abandoned structures. But after many years, with the help of NASA, a team of archaeologists discovers a mysterious pyramid buried thousands of feet deep beneath the Earth's surface. This means that this pyramid has its own underground world. Its uniqueness lies in its structure and age. Unlike other pyramids with 4 sides, this one has only 3 sides, a shape never seen before. This strange discovery only deepens human curiosity, but the Egyptians refused to allow any research on the pyramid, believing that doing so would awaken the curse once again. According to them, the curse represents a kind of natural catastrophe, something far beyond human control. Because of this belief, people take to the streets and protest, demanding that all exploration of the pyramid be stopped immediately. However, the rational-minded archaeologists obtain permission from the government and begin their research. The research team consists of 5 members, led by Dr. Miles. His daughter Nora is also one of the team members. The team is equipped with advanced technology, including NASA-provided satellite support and planetary surface exploration devices. Their excavation continues smoothly at first, but suddenly a cloud of toxic gas bursts out from the site. One of the workers is instantly engulfed by it and dies within seconds. Panic spreads among the remaining crew. They all heard rumors about the curse, and now their fears seem to be coming true. They start to believe it's time to abandon the pyramid. But Dr. Miles, Nora, and the rest of the team refuse to give in to superstition. They insist on continuing the research. Meanwhile, protests outside grow more violent. People shout, "This is the beginning of the curse." The situation becomes so severe that it's on the verge of civil unrest. Then, an American government official contacts Dr. Miles through a live video call and says, "Stop your work immediately and return home. The Egyptian government is preparing to shut down your research by force." Hearing this, the team is deeply disappointed. After so many years of planning and hard work, they don't want to give up now. But in the end, they decide to prepare for departure. Just then, Nora refuses to quit. She says, "Why don't we at least go inside once? Let's see for ourselves what's different about this pyramid. Why does it have 3 sides? Why is it buried so deep beneath the Earth's surface?" Inspired by her determination, the team agrees. They decide to send in a robot rover first to explore and capture footage of what lies within the mysterious pyramid. They believed that once they entered the pyramid, its strange secrets would finally be revealed. As the robotic rover ventured deeper inside, it became clear this pyramid was completely different from any ever discovered before. It wasn't built as a tomb, but for some other unknown purpose. But suddenly, something attacked the rover. Within seconds, the feed went offline. The video signal was lost, and the screen went black. Now they could no longer see what was happening inside. Everyone outside assumed maybe it was just a wild animal or a stray dog. But the real problem was that rover was an extremely expensive NASA device. They couldn't just leave it behind. So before leaving Egypt, the team decided they would retrieve the rover no matter what. Even though the government had officially banned entry into the pyramid, they secretly planned to go inside. Meanwhile, the military had surrounded the area to ensure that no scientists disobeyed the orders. But Dr. Miles and his team, determined and fearless, prepared to sneak in under the cover of night. They made a plan. If something happened to them inside, no one outside would ever know where they disappeared. Before entering, they tied a thin wire to a pole at the entrance and held the other end themselves. The idea was simple. If they lost their way inside, they could follow the wire back out. Then, one by one, they descended deep beneath the earth. As soon as they entered, they saw 3 separate tunnels. One of them slanted upward, and along its walls were ancient Egyptian weapons used thousands of years ago. While they were talking, Nora suddenly noticed something terrifying. Her father's guide wire had snapped. It was a moment of panic. All 3 tunnels looked exactly the same. Now they had no idea which one led back to the surface. That wire had been their only link to safety,
and now it was gone. They reached the point where the three paths split. Each tunnel had a different ancient symbol carved at the entrance. Taking a risk, they chose one and began walking. But the deeper they went, the darker it became. No sign of light. No way back. They soon realized they had taken the wrong path and were moving further into the heart of the pyramid. After a long, tense walk, they entered a vast hall-like chamber, and there, lying broken in the dust, was their missing robotic rover.
Everyone was now terrified. They just wanted to get out of this place alive. But despite the warning carved on the door, danger, they chose to ignore it. Working together, they began pushing and pulling at the heavy stone door. After several minutes of struggle, the door finally creaked open and they cautiously stepped inside. Just then, they heard voices echoing in the distance, the voices of soldiers. These were the same military officers who had been monitoring them from outside. After learning that the research team had secretly entered the pyramid, the soldiers had now followed them in, determined to bring them back. Suddenly, the team heard a scream. It was their injured colleague, Michelle. They rushed back toward the sound, but when they arrived, she was gone. Only bloodstains covered the ground. It was clear something had dragged her away. Dr. Miles and Nora were horrified. They stood frozen, unable to understand what was happening inside this cursed structure. One of the team members, panicked and furious, shouted at Dr. Miles, "What kind of doctor are you? You brought us here, and now you don't even know the way out?" But the truth was, the pyramid structure was so complex and deadly that finding an exit was nearly impossible. Still, desperate to survive, they kept searching. Finally, they discovered a narrow tunnel, a small passage that seemed to lead outside. Crawling through the tunnel in total darkness, they moved forward one by one. Suddenly, a wild, cat-like creature leapt out of the shadows and attacked. After a violent struggle, they managed to fight it off and crawl their way out of the tunnel. The moment they reached the outside, they came face to face with a soldier. One of the men sent to stop them, but before they could speak, the soldier was suddenly killed by the same unseen force. Then came the final revelation, the true secret of the pyramid. Everything that had happened inside, every death, every mysterious event, was all because of one being, the ancient god Anubis. According to Greek and Egyptian mythology, Anubis was once a divine guardian of the afterlife, but after committing a grave sin, he was banished from the heavens, condemned to remain imprisoned within this very pyramid. He was a punished soul, and every human who dared to enter his domain was killed by his own hand. But these killings had a purpose. Anubis could only be freed if he found one truly pure soul, a person whose heart and spirit were equally pure. After killing each intruder, Anubis would place their heart and soul on a scale, the scales of truth. He would weigh them to determine whether the person was truly good or not. But sadly, none who entered were ever pure enough, so Anubis remained forever trapped inside the pyramid, a prisoner of his own curse. One by one, Dr. Miles and his team met their deaths. Even after Miles died, Anubis judged his heart and soul and declared him impure. In the final scene, Nora, exhausted, injured, and barely alive, reaches the end of a tunnel. A faint beam of light shines ahead. She moves slowly toward it, clinging to the last spark of hope. Then, out of the light, she sees a small boy standing quietly, reaching out his hand as if to help her. Nora smiles weakly and steps closer, but suddenly, Anubis appears once again. In an instant, he kills Nora and then turns on the boy as well. The story ends there, with the curse of the Dark Pyramid still alive, claiming every soul that dares to enter.